So hearty welcome to all of you. So today with us we have the rank holders of this year. Ishita, who has secured rank 1 in the Civil Services Examination. We have Garima, who has secured rank 2. Uma has not been able to join us, and we have Mayur, who has secured 5th rank in the Civil Services Examination, and we have Rahul, who has secured 10th rank in the examination. So पहले तो many congratulations to all of you. All right. So सबसे पहले when the results came, so each of you, I just want to know, मैं ये जानना चाहता हूँ, what was your first reaction? आपका पहला reaction क्या था? आप कर क्या रहे थे और आपका पहला reaction क्या था? इशिता.
So until morning, of course, given the uncertainty of the exam, I was also preparing for prelims. But the first reaction was one of gratitude to everyone who has supported me in this journey, my friends, my family, and just felt that they have invested their time and emotionally so much in me. So I felt happy that they are all happy and they are all free now.
इतना तो नहीं सोचा होगा मेरे ख्याल से, पहले तो कंट्रोल F किया होगा, तो उस समय क्या सीन था? Who saw your result? आपका रिजल्ट किसने देखा था?
सर कंट्रोल F से बड़ा डर लगता है हमें एज एस्पिरेंट्स, क्योंकि फर्स्ट 2 अटेम्प्ट्स कंट्रोल F जब नॉट फाउंड आया था तो द फीलिंग वाज वेरी बैड. सो फ्रॉम माय थर्ड अटेम्प्ट आई स्टार्टेड स्क्रोलिंग, चाहे वो प्रीलिम्स हो मेंस हो, आई वुड ऑलवेज स्क्रोल एंड टेक माय टाइम. बट थैंकफुली दिस टाइम माय फ्रेंड सॉ माय रिजल्ट and he had called me and he told me ki you're on the first rank, so I didn't have to check the PDF after that.
गरिमा, आप क्या कर रही थी जब रिजल्ट आया तो?
Sir, I had my modern history book open on one end and I was looking continuously at the PDF, and as soon as it got uploaded, I think it was 1:32 PM when I saw it. And I was shocked. I could not believe it's rank 2. So I thought maybe there's some problem. It's a fake PDF or something. But then everyone started calling me, and then I thought that it's true. And I felt relieved that acha chalo, I don't have to take the prelims this year. This was the biggest relief, and that's it.
Mayur?
Okay, so there was this WhatsApp group and वहाँ पे लोग बता रहे थे कि वेबसाइट अभी सर्वर अभी बिज़ी हो गया है, तो मैंने भी चेक किया, सर्वर बिज़ी आ गया, तो ऊपर से नीचे तक सब ठंडा हो गया. तो हनुमान चालीसा लगा लिया कान में. तो उसके बाद थोड़े टाइम बाद जब PDF आ गया तब देखा, तो पहले तो जैसे गरिमा ने बताया वैसा ही था कि पहले लगा कि ये तो मोस्ट प्रोबेबली कुछ गलत ही हो गया होगा, फेक हो गया होगा, क्योंकि पिछले दिन से ही कोई बता रहा था कि फेक PDFs आता है तो दो बिवेयर ऑफ डोज. तो मैं अपनी मम्मी को बताया कि 5 आया है, किसी को बोलना मत, फेक हो सकता है. तो थोड़ी देर बाद फिर जब कॉल्स आने लगा तब हो गया कि चलो ठीक ही है.
हाउ अबाउट यू राहुल, क्या कर रहे थे आप?
मैं तो खाना खा रहा था सर. रिजल्ट शायद 1:30 बजे के आसपास आए थे, तो आई वॉज हैविंग माई लंच, और जैसे ही नाम देखा अपना रैंक 10 पे, तो whatever I said मैं कैमरे पे नहीं बोल सकता. But I was very happy that मैं साइकिल से निकल गया. That was the biggest sense of relief.
तो your introductions are not needed, but मैं एक बार चाहूँगा कि आप लोग briefly अपने बेसिक बैकग्राउंड के बारे में, आप कहाँ से हैं, आपकी स्कूलिंग कहाँ से हुई, फैमिली में कौन कौन है ना, एक और उसके बारे में थोड़ा बता सकें. इशिता?
So Ishita Kishore, I have done my graduation in economics from Sri Ram College of Commerce, Delhi University. I was born in Hyderabad, and I've done my schooling in 2-3 cities, but mostly from Delhi, Air Force Bar Bharati. And I also worked in corporate sector for 2 years in Ernst & Young. And then I decided that perhaps what I'm really passionate about is public service. So then I left my job and I started preparing full time.
Okay. So Ishita, I have gotten a lot of messages from a lot of people, right from a bookstore owner to professors of Patna University, ये पता करने के लिए कि Ishita really from Patna or not, or Bihar or not. So what are your links? Do you have any links there?
Yes sir, both my parents, my mother and father, both are from Patna. So I'm 100% from Patna, but it's just that I was born and brought up in other places because of my father's profession. So we kept moving around and finally settled in Uttar Pradesh.
All right. Garima?
Sir, I was born and brought up in Bihar itself, in Buxar district, and I did my basic primary, secondary education from there. But for my graduation, I came here to University of Delhi. I did BCom from here, and I was also pursuing chartered accountancy. But midway, I thought I should give civil services an honest attempt. So I got through this, and I decided to get into this.
Mayur?
Sir, I was born and brought up in Tejpur, Assam, and I have done my schooling in Tejpur itself. And after that, I did my graduation in MBBS from Guwahati Medical College, Assam. After that, I was doing 1 year rural service as a medical officer, and I was in service till like 10 days before my prelims, and this was my first attempt, and I think that is it.
Rahul, आप?
Born and brought up in Bihar, Patna +2 तक, फिर graduated in engineering from NIT Trichy. उसके बाद मैंने 2 साल corporate में काम किया. Then I left and prepared full time. अब तो 5 साल हो गए preparation करते करते.
अच्छा, so I think you have been working before and you also have been working before and you were working in, तो आपका तो खैर corporate नहीं, तो you were working in the corporate sector. So जब काम कर रहे थे corporate sector में, तो at what point did you decide to quit the job? Like did you not try to work along with the corporate sector and try to clear, या फिर क्या point था, क्या motivation क्या था कि, या क्या सोच कर इसमें आने का सोचा आपने?
So I think when we start working, the first year is full of exposure and opportunities. So back then, while working, I also had the opportunity to visit Canada. So I was taking the experiences in. But after 2 years, I felt that I should sit and think that what do I really want to do in the long run. In the next 3 to 4 decades, किस type का career एक build करना चाहती हूँ मैं. तब मुझे लगा that this is the direction, having a more connect with governance and using whatever skills I have in that direction is a better journey for me, and that was the moment I decided.
And Rahul?
Sir, people of Bihar do not have a choice. Services उनका first preference always रहता है. But yes, corporate job was very satisfying for me. मतलब it was very fulfilling. और services में जाने का बहुत sure नहीं था. I was on and off, मुझे लगता था तैयारी करूँ ना करूँ. कई बार ऐसा हुआ कि 3 महीने पढ़ के छोड़ दिया. But I saw many of my friends on forum and other platforms who got selected. तब मुझे एक conviction है कि नहीं, even I can do it. And it was then I decided to take the plunge back in 2017-18.
तो एक चीज़ पूछना चाहूँगा आप लोगों से. देखिए फोरम के बारे में, जनरली फोरम लोग आते हैं अपने सेकंड थर्ड अटैम्प्ट के बाद. फर्स्ट अटैम्प्ट के पहले तो बहुत बच्चों को फोरम के बारे में पता नहीं रहता है. तो आप लोगों को फोरम के बारे में कैसे पता चला?
So I was looking for test series to join, especially for mains. So in my second attempt, when I did not clear prelims, I had decided that I would still wholeheartedly prepare for mains and simulate it back at home. So in those 2 months, I did write the 8 tests, and they didn't go that well, but it gave me that practice and that vision. तो तब forum के बारे में पहली बार सुना था from my friends, and then क्योंकि मुझे ये system अच्छा लगा, तो मैंने third attempt में फिर से forum में ही test series लिया.
अच्छा, गरिमा?
Sir, I think I had a lot of friends who took MGP and the Pincers classes in 2021, and they cleared through also. So they shared some coupons with me to use. I think it's through that I got to know about Forum. Until then, I was not associated with Forum. So then I took MGP and current affairs classes both.
मयूर, आपको कैसे पता चला?
सर मेरा एक फ्रेंड था यहाँ दिल्ली में प्रिपेयर कर रहा था, तो ही सजेस्टेड मी अबाउट द MGP प्रोग्राम. And I enrolled online. I gave a few tests, and also since I was under time crunch, so I compensated that with analysis of the model answers that are given by forum. Those are very wholesome model answers.
राहुल, आपको कैसे पता चला फोरम के बारे में?
फोरम तो सर मैं 2016 से 15 से हूँ, मेरा अकाउंट वहाँ पे, जब discuss.ForumIAS हुआ करता था. It was chance, जब मैंने प्रिपरेशन स्टार्ट करी तो आई वॉज लुकिंग फॉर अ प्लेटफॉर्म टू इंटरेक्ट विद पीपल जो मुझे गाइड कर सके. फॉर्चुनेटली मैंने गूगल सर्च किया फोरम फॉर IAS, तो फोरम IAS आया, एंड सिंस देन आई हैव बीन अ पार्ट. फोरम, फिर क्वेस्ट बना, फिर वो भी टूट गया, अभी कुछ और बना. MGP के बारे में तो आई केम टू नो फ्रॉम फोरम इटसेल्फ. वहाँ पे अनुदीप सर का खास करके MGP कॉपीज आई हैव स्टिल गॉट देम इन माई लैपटॉप, और उनकी ही राइटिंग स्टाइल, it sort of revolutionized the way of answer writing.
तो पहले एक ट्रेंड ये था कि जनरली पीपल यूज टू पास आउट फ्रॉम ग्रेजुएशन एंड आफ्टर दैट दे स्टार्टेड प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर सिविल सर्विसेज. तो लेकिन अभी क्या है, मैं इंक्रीजिंगली देख रहा हूँ बच्चे सेकेंड ईयर थर्ड ईयर, वेदर इट इज़ दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी, वेदर इट इज़ IITs NITs और इवन अदर इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेजेस और लॉ स्कूल्स, अभी ये सेकेंड ईयर थर्ड ईयर से बच्चे प्रिपेयर करना शुरू कर चुके हैं. सो व्हाट इज़ योर ओपिनियन ऑन दिस? शुड दे फिनिश ऑफ देयर ग्रेजुएशन ईयर्स and then start preparing, या फिर they could get started earlier?
So I think it depends on the kind of opportunities they have in front of them. Back in my college, I had the opportunity to work in corporate sector, so it felt that why not take in that exposure. So please, the eligibility is to be a graduate. Please take your graduation very seriously. ग्रेजुएशन छोड़ के बाकी चीज़ें करना मुझे नहीं सही लगेगा. फर्स्ट फोकस इज देयर. इफ यू कैन मेक सम टाइम आउट एंड इफ यू आर पैशनेट अबाउट इट, देन इट्स ऑलवेज गुड टू स्टार्ट.
Garima?
Sir, I think I could not enjoy my graduation days to the fullest, but I think it's very important because the exposure that you get during your graduation reflects in your interview stage also. It gets reflected everywhere. Ultimately, what we write in prelims and mains is an amalgamation of whatever you have learned in your 20-21 years of life. So I do not suggest rushing into this in your graduation itself, but towards the end, once you've committed, then I think in your last semester you can think of compromising a little on that and focusing more on the civils.
Mayur?
Sir, I would mostly agree with what they have said, that the graduation should not get compromised to that great extent. However, one can actually, I think there is sufficient time to go for at least like 1 hour or 1.5 hour if they want. However, the main or the basics of graduation should not get hampered because of this.
I agree with everyone here. Graduation should be done with all sincerity. However, the decision of going into a job and then coming back to services or immediately going into this civil services preparation is a very personal call.
Coming to the prelims examination, so prelims examination does remain an Achilles heel for most of us, except Mayur, I think, who has been able to clear it in very first attempt. So, what is the trick to clear the prelims examination, Ishita?
So I don't know if I am the best person, but if it's about finding your own mistakes, then I can say that I've spent 2 years just finding and improving myself. I always kept the question papers on my study table, and I've found multiple ways of solving the same question. So that helped me in expanding my analytical abilities. एक ही question अगर solve कर लिया, I didn't stop at that. I used to ask my friends if they have a different way of solving that question. How are they thinking? What are the other knowledge material or in the direction in which we can think? So, and finding more and more mistakes in my answers. So I think that's what helped me in my third attempt.
Garima?
Sir, I think what worked for me was in the second attempt, especially to not be very underconfident in GS1 and not be very overconfident in CSAT. I think take both the papers with equal seriousness. Anyone can surprise you that day.
Mayur?
So for me, I think the first factor was I relied on not very vast amount of materials. My sources were almost limited, good quality but limited, and I went for multiple rounds of revision. So that was the first thing, and also I was flexible with the number that I was going to attempt in the prelims. Like most of what I had in mind, that I would be probably attempting around 80 to 85, but on the exam date I actually ended up attempting around 71. Because I realized that the accuracy that day was around like 45. I was almost sure about 45 of those. So I knew that I don't need to take so much risk. So having that idea about accuracy rate is also important.
I agree with the revision part, syllabus, analysis. I believe that after a point where you have done all the hard work, you should pray to God that you should clear prelims and do nothing better than that.
Acha, with respect to newspaper and note making, so which newspaper did you guys used to read? Second, newspaper से notes बनाते थे या नहीं? And thirdly, otherwise, what is your general strategy for note making? Digital notes or paper notes or what? So Ishita.
So in my opinion, newspaper reading is extremely important, and I have given it importance across the 3 attempts and across the 3 stages. And there is a different perspective with which you have to read the newspaper for each stage. So because it keeps you very connected, it's always good to take in that information firsthand rather than seeing someone else's derived information or someone else's notes. So I relied on my newspaper notes. I started with handwritten, लेकिन फिर मैंने online कर लिया था because that is more efficient. And एक newspaper पढ़ा है for prelims and mains, but for interview I was reading 2 to 3 newspapers.
And did you make notes from the newspaper all the time?
So actually it's very fast because ज़्यादा चीज़ें prelims related होती नहीं हैं. If there is some word जिसका definition हम ढूंढ सकते हैं तो we can quickly do that. It doesn't take a lot of time, just 10 to 15 minutes every day on newspaper notes.
Sir, I think I started with one newspaper in the beginning, and I used to make paper notes.
You could name the newspaper as well.
Yeah, I read The Hindu, but I think everybody read it here. So I started with The Hindu, and I used to make notes. So I think I made 10 pages of A4 sheet notes every day, because I had to also go back, Google, understand the context of what was happening in past 2 to 3 months. So it took me a lot of time, I think 3 hours per day for newspapers. But later on, from the second, third month onwards, I realized I'll not be able to revise it. So I turned it online and took up only that aspect from the newspaper which I'll use in my mains answers. And I left the remaining revision part to whatever compilations I could get access to.
Mayur?
Sir, I had extreme time crunch and I could not actually go for newspapers. I would not recommend that to others. If I had the luxury of time, then I would have gone for those. There was no notes from newspapers. I had to rely on compilations, and also I went for value addition by searching on Google.
Rahul?
Sir, note making from newspaper is something that I have never done. What I have read newspaper is for general awareness. Other than that, note taking for me has always been in the pen and paper mode. Digital mode, I find it a little inconvenient, although this depends on the location of preparation and how comfortable one is using the digital mode.
For the prelims examination, how much time do you think should one dedicate exclusively to prelims? Should it be all integrated या फिर prelims को थोड़ा time दे देना चाहिए? Forum, as forum, we always say एक 5 month का हम कहते हैं कि 5 months आप दे दो अगर थोड़ा सा सेफ चलना है तो. लेकिन you guys are the practitioners and you guys are the toppers, तो अपना बताओ कितना लगता है कितना समय prelims को अलग से देना चाहिए?
थर्ड अटेम्प्ट में तो बिल्कुल ही सेफ खेला था. जनवरी से प्रीलिम्स के लिए शुरू हो गई थी एंड 100% टाइम टू प्रीलिम्स, प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस एंड टेस्ट्स.
यहाँ पर जो 7 AM वाले टेस्ट होते थे उसको ठीक से दिया था. मैंने देखा कि यू हैव डन द रिन्यूअल्स आल्सो, सो यू नॉट लाइक द वन हु वुड रन अवे. मतलब मेरा कैलकुलेशन ये है, बट तो उसको ठीक से.
आई हैव नॉट मिस्ड अ सिंगल टेस्ट.
यू डिड नॉट मिस अ सिंगल टेस्ट.
बट इट माइट नॉट रिफ्लेक्ट ऑनलाइन. कभी-कभी हम पेपर्स एक्सचेंज कर लेते थे तो बट या वी डिड हैव अ पीयर ग्रुप दैट हेल्प्ड. It was not my own discipline as such, but लगता था कि the group is so disciplined and सब कर रहे हैं तो मुझे भी करना चाहिए. So fortunately the peer group was good and we all would discuss the questions also later.
यहाँ पर ऑफलाइन कर रही थी या ऑनलाइन कर रही थी? घर पे कर रहे थे टेस्ट लिखने के लिए. लेकिन आप ये ग्रीन चेयर्स वाली क्लासरूम थी इसी में?
सर एनजीपी के लिए टू सिमुलेट द एनवायरनमेंट वाज नेसेसरी, तो मैंने सुबह शाम एंड नेक्स्ट डे सुबह शाम 2 दिन में लगातार 4 पेपर्स लिखे.
गरिमा, प्रीलिम्स के लिए आपको क्या लगता है कितना टाइम लगेगा?
After having failed my first attempt, prelims became a nightmare. तो मैंने 1 जनवरी से ही सोचा कि सिर्फ prelims करते हैं 5 months. So I gave 1 month exclusively to CSAT. I don't think anyone has given so much time. I studied CSAT for 8 hours a day, and then from 1st Feb onwards I did prelims. So I gave approximately a good 5 months, but in this time when I was preparing, I could not. But yeah, 5 months. I think if you're in your first attempt, 5 months is required.
Should I ask you this question to you, Mayur?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. How much time do you think you have not?
I was preparing in an integrated menu till December. Then I had planned that I'll be starting it on January. But I panicked so much that I started exactly on 25th of December. I remember because I went out with my friends for Christmas, and then when I came back, I decided that okay, this is enough. I should start prelims now.
Rahul, कितना टाइम लगता है? You've seen everything, so.
So मेरा थोड़ा सा I have a different take on this. In your words, we should peak just before prelims. We should not peak after or much before. So for me, it was 2 months of full throttle preparation for prelims.
एक क्वेश्चन, प्रीलिम्स का पेपर आप लोगों ने या तो देखा होगा इस बार का या फिर दोस्तों से सुना होगा, तो कितने लोगों को लग रहा है कि इस बार प्रीलिम्स निकल जाता? गरिमा, पेपर देख के क्या लग रहा है?
2 hour के प्रेशर में बैठकर देखते तो वो अलग पर्सपेक्टिव होता है, एंड जस्ट गोइंग थ्रू इट, आई थिंक इट वाज रियली अ चेंज्ड पैटर्न. इट वाज डिफिकल्ट, नो डाउट.
मयूर
सर, अभी तो फुल एकदम देखा नहीं है, ऊपर से अराउंड जो 50-60 देखा है, तो हाँ किया तो जा सकता था, लेकिन डेफिनेटली डिफरेंट तो था काफ़ी.
राहुल,
मैंने अपने दोस्तों से सुना पेपर कैसा, और फिर मैंने पेपर देखा ही नहीं सर.
Coming to the mains examination, so what is the difference in approach between the prelims when you study for the prelims versus the mains examination?
So for me, especially after seeing this year's paper also, and last year भी कुछ questions में हमने देखा था pair वाले questions आ रहे थे. इस बार भी the pattern has changed. So an analytical and mind and a presence of mind is very important for prelims for those 2 hours. For mains, I think the practice that we bring with us of writing and of integrating ideas and of linking things beforehand, that helps us a lot in the exam, because there we are just quickly expressing without thinking a lot.
Garima?
So I think your preparation for prelims can be done in 5 months, but your preparation for mains is done in your entire lifetime, I think. I remember quoting examples from 9th standard or 12th standard, whatever I have read in life. So mains actually gives you the platform to express who you really are. So it's a whole different game altogether, prelims and mains.
Mayur?
Sir, I would agree with what they have said, and I would like to add that I relied on much more on value addition, be it in the form of statistical data, reports, because those are not actually required in prelim stage, but quoting those data, reports, schemes, anecdotes and all, I actually relied on them for the mains answer writing.
Rahul?
Sir, I think I have similar views. Prelims preparation is a part of the bigger picture, the mains preparation. So prelims knowledge does help in mains, data, facts, figures. So it can be done integratedly in the initial phases, but it requires a different approach. Answer writing and solving objective questions both are fundamentally very different things.
Coming to, let's say, General Studies Paper 1. So some people think world history, post-independence history, because they have less number of questions, we should leave it all together. While some people, so I asked this question to Shruti last year, and she said, she had a certain view. She said, "Pehle to mera history hai, so history optional hai, so I will not be able to." But she was of a certain view. I want to know this year toppers, would you leave world history and post-independence because less number of questions are there?
Sir, very honestly, if I'm writing mains, I would leave no stone unturned. So I would cover everything. And world history, fortunately, I had some idea because of my optional again. So I did know about the major events, but I did see the previous year questions also and what direction they're going in. So I should just know the major events apart from what the NCERT offers us.
How about you, Garima?
So I took world history as a platform to use examples in essay and ethics. So I studied world history with that perspective in mind, that even if I give 3 days to world history, I'll have a lot of examples which I'll be able to use at other places. So I did that sincerely. In post-independent, I did it only in 6 hours. Whatever summary I could get from anywhere, and that's it.
Okay, so I'm even surprised to know that my strategy was same as Garima. I had actually learned world history in a very detailed manner. I was sure that I'll be quoting them in my essay and my ethics paper. And with respect to post-independence, I think 1 or 2 days is like enough. One can cover it up.
How about you, Rahul?
Sir, I think same. It should not be left untouched, although the depth of preparation can vary. Like I prepared post-independence more in detail vis-a-vis the world history because I found the syllabus of world history pretty vast. So, but yes, they should not be left untouched because easy questions should not be missed.
So coming to अगर General Studies Paper 2 देखते हैं, so we all begin with reading the Bible, that is the Lakshmikant for the prelims. Now, how much does this rescue you in the mains examination? I'm assuming सब लोगों ने MGP टेस्ट लिखा है, तो थोड़ा क्रेडिट इस चीज़ का रहना चाहिए कि भाई उसके ऊपर हम लोग जाते हैं, वहीं से हमें रिजल्ट आते हैं. But still, as students, as aspirants, what do you feel? Like, is Lakshmikant sufficient for the mains? या उसके ऊपर जाना पड़ेगा? क्या लगता है इशिता?
So GS2 में it can be a good starting point about knowing the context of things, and Lakshmikant के second half में जो हम prelims में avoid करते हैं कि किसने क्या कहा, what is the why is it called sui generis or things like that. That explanation is given in the book, so those can be good inputs. Apart from that, sir, newspaper reading did help me whenever any article used to come on judiciary or about the constitution or about certain amendments. So that value addition also did help me. And sir, the IR part in GS2, that I took a lot of help from my optional. So GS2 I think was fairly covered for me.
Garima?
Sir, I think Lakshmikant will help you write a good introduction. For example, I think in MGP there was a question on CAGs. You can just start article 148 talks about this. But it only provides you, I think, 10 to 20% of the content you can write in an answer. So I took Lakshmikant, for example, if there is a chapter on federal structure, I'll study whatever is given in Lakshmikant and then Google it and see the current issues. If there is cooperative federalism, I remember last year there was the Minerva Mills case going on, competitive cooperative federalism. So you need to take it as a cue that these are the indicative topics and then prepare it in the current context. This is what I did.
And you also had taken here paper 2 and paper 3 classes here.
Yeah, I had taken classes from Dipin sir. I think it contributed a lot. And sir has divided his classes into IR, Polity, but trust me, the content which he gives in his classes is paper neutral. I wrote it even in my optional, some of the stuff. And I wrote it in commerce and accountancy. You just need to be smart enough to switch the context. And sir teaches that very well. So I think GS2, I was very sure. IR especially, I did not read one page extra from Dipin sir's note, apart from his notes. So I think it was very good.
Mayur?
Sir, I would agree that Lakshmikant is a very good starting point. That would form the basic. But for means answer writing, definitely one needs to go for some significant amount of value addition. Be that from online sources available, from test series available, or whatever case laws, for example, that can be a good way of value addition. So I think significant amount of value addition is required on the foundation that is built on Lakshmikant.
Rahul?
So I agree. Lakshmikant sir ki book is like necessary but not sufficient. It is like the basics. So you should extract main specific things from the book, like case laws, article number, opinions of scholars. Other than that, value addition happens with any of the resources we can refer to.
So I would also like to add one more thing. While I was doing Lakshmi, so this all of this mains preparation for Lakshmikant cannot happen in those 3 months. While you are doing it for prelims, do it in a manner that you can use it for mains. I remember the white side of the book of the Lakshmikant. I had all the sticky notes with case studies of the relevant chapter there. So for example, if there is the part of president's the pardon that president provides, there are 3 or 4 case laws, Epuru Sudhakar case and everything. I'd written it there only, so that every time I revise Lakshmikant at least 5 to 6 times for prelims, I'm also done with the mains part of it. It makes your prelims analytical questions easier, it makes your mains work easier.
Yes, I would also like to add, I had followed similar strategy. I had whatever value addition I did it on the Lakshmikant itself.
Yes.
That can be done.
Just one book, but make that book, you have to make it your own version of your book.
Yes.
So I had pasted and stapled pages separately at the end of the chapter if there's anything extra that I need to do.
एक बात, एथिक्स वाली रेड बुक किसी ने
Yes,
पढ़ा या
मैंने
नहीं
पढ़ा
पढ़ा?
है।
हाँ.
मैंने पढ़ा है that.
ऑलराइट, पेपर 3 में नंबर नहीं उठ रहे हैं सबके. पिछले साल भी मैंने देखा रैंक 1 ऑलमोस्ट आई थिंक 98 मार्क्स से उठे. इस बार भी मुझे लग रहा है, आई थिंक आई सॉ योर स्कोर कार्ड 88 मार्क्स है. 94 आई थिंक. मयूर आपका
103 I think.
अच्छा, सो वी हैव अ ट्रिपल डिजिट स्कोर एंड 91. तो सबसे पहले इस बार तुमसे, सो पेपर 3 में ब्रॉडली मार्क्स लाने के लिए तुम्हें क्या लगता है क्या करना चाहिए?
Sir, my paper 3 was very statistics driven. I think I had by heart around 700 or 800 statistics, and I used those in different occasions here and there. And especially my internal security was, I think it was one of my strong points. All those questions, 3-4 questions, whatever came in internal security, तो पूरा मेरे को तो लग ही रहा था कि 6 ही मार दिया मैंने वो तीनों क्वेश्चन में. पूरा स्कीम्स क्या क्या टेक्नोलॉजीज हमने एक्वायर किए हैं बाहर, मतलब अलग देश से, वो सब काफ़ी डेप्थ में मैंने लिखा था. तो आई थिंक ऑल दोज वर्कड आउट.
ठीक है. राहुल, यू आल्सो स्कोर्ड वेल, बताओ.
Almost same, because you have to convince your examiner and you have to substantiate your arguments with quotes, with data from economic survey or budget or whatever relevant info is there. But I guess the marking has been on an average pretty less this year. This is more.
Garima, then I'll come to Ishita last.
So for GS3 also I used Dipin sir's material, whatever he provided. I think his answers for security, providing all those maps and all, it made my answer good. And apart from this, in science I was very skeptical because the year before there were questions like blue LED, and I belong to a commerce background. I was already very scared. But what I did with whatever material I referred for prelims, I did it once again for mains. So I remember I knew the exact details of the James Webb Space Telescope. I even drew a very nice diagram on that day. So I think that helped me this year.
Chalo, very good thing. So I just want to tell you here. So any faculty or even myself or even Dipin sir, so we always want one thing. I mean, one thing that is we want good students. What do you think is our definition of a good student? But अभी इसने अच्छी बात बोली इसलिए मैं पूछ रहा हूँ, क्या लगता है अच्छा स्टूडेंट कौन होता है? Guess मारो, just say anything.
So sincerity, I think.
Very good. Okay, Mayur. From a faculty's perspective, what do you think? We see Forum always looks for. We have इन टॉप 10 वी हैव 8 रैंक्स ऑफ दिस ईयर, और एक दो बच्चों को और ऐड कर लेंगे तो 9 या 10 भी, एक बच्चे को छोड़कर शायद सारे होंगे. बट दैट्स ऑल बिकॉज थैंक्स टू यू गाइज हु वी हैव रियली बीन एबल टू गेट द बेस्ट स्टूडेंट्स. और जो बेस्ट नहीं भी रहे तो किसी तरह 7 बजे वाला टेस्ट करा कर या जैसे तैसे करके हमने कोशिश किया कि सबको लेवल अप करें थोड़ा, है ना. तो क्या लगता है राहुल, हु इज़ अ गुड स्टूडेंट?
who can follow the advice and जो
Yes.
without
टीचर के एफर्ट को मैच कर पाए फिर
बस 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 एकदम आप लोगों ने सही बोला. सो एट फोरम वी आर लुकिंग फॉर पीपल जिसको अगर एमजीपी में सोल्यूशन में अगर यूएल हरारी का कुछ आर्गुमेंट दिया है तो उसको कहीं भी यूज़ कर ले. अगर हमने डायग्राम बनाया है क्लास में तो बच्चा रेप्लिकेट कर ले. सो दैट इज़ वाई आप देखेंगे फोरम थोड़ा कंजर्वेटिव रहता है कभी कभी अपने आप को प्रमोट करने में. मतलब एज ए फाउंडर मेरे को बहुत प्रेशर रहता है कि सर आपके रिजल्ट है, खूब क्यों नहीं एडवर्टीज, खूब सारे होर्डिंग्स क्यों नहीं लगाते हो. उसका रीज़न ये होता है कि अभी आप लोग जिन बच्चों को भेजोगे ना वो बहुत ट्रस्ट के साथ आएंगे, और उसके बाद उनको जो बताया जाएगा वो बहुत जो है ना बहुत अच्छे से इसको इम्प्लीमेंट करें. एंड द मिनट इफ दे आर इम्प्लीमेंटिंग देन वी विल स्टार्ट गेटिंग रिजल्ट्स. एंड द मिनट वी गेट जस्ट टू मेनी स्टूडेंट्स and they are not implementing because they don't have so much faith and they are just too distracted, then our results will drop. So this is very, so पहले तो मेरा खुद का भी बहुत gratitude है. This year the students that we have seen, they have been with us for some time and they have very dutifully, I often see कि जब मैं बात कर रहा हूँ इस बार के बच्चों से, तो this is something like 2017 का कि बच्चे जो सारे के सारे बच्चे को एक एक चीज़ पता है कि क्या क्या बोला गया था यहाँ पर. जैसे राहुल ने बोला ना कि ये बोला पीक नहीं करना है, तो ऐसे ऐसे करके हमने जो भी बातें बोली थी वो उस समय के बच्चों ने फॉलो की थी. हमें लग रहा था 2 साल लॉकडाउन के ठीक समय या उस समय थोड़ा सा हमें लग रहा था कि बच्चे, सो वी वर ऑल्सो वेरी कंसर्न कि यार हमारा कंट्रीब्यूशन इन द सक्सेस क्या है. मतलब फाइन विल गेट रैंक्स बट द परसेंटेज कंट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ फोरम हैज़ टू बी देयर. लाइक हाउ मच हैज़ फोरम कंट्रीब्यूटेड टू हिज सक्सेस, दैट इज़ समथिंग we as teachers, mentors, we look forward कि मतलब if you were not there then how much impact it would have made on the preparation of the student, and we want that impact to be very high. Yeah, so that is the role that we want. ऐसा हमारा vision है. This is a secret thing that we have within us, है ना. So all right, see this year the essay paper was a little on the dicey side, a lot of philosophical topics, and I'm sure you are here so you must have done quite well in the essay or decently well in the essay. So what was your approach to addressing the philosophical type?
So this was an area where I felt I could thrive, and to collate a lot of ideas and the kind of philosophies that we keep following. So as Garima keeps saying that this is not the knowledge of 3 months, this is the knowledge of my 26 years of existence, the small incidents in my childhood, in my adolescent years, as teenagers in college. So they stay with us, and just try to have a unique approach to it, and it will be unique only when you try to write it in your own style, not trying to copy any other topper, and find your own voice in this journey and that way of expression.
How did you approach your essay? Do you remember which essay you had written? And
Sir, in general, I follow a lot of good orators, motivational speakers, or a lot of quotations that I used to collect and keep in my room. So that was my approach, that I will start with a quote that really resonates and sums up the topic, and I would try to talk about it, and in conclusion I would also call back to the initial thing that I started with.
Garima?
Sir, I think I chose the topic which said forests are the best case studies for economic excellence, and I remember starting it with an anecdote that compared it with a bamboo plant, that when it grows initially in 2 to 3 years you see a small bud, but suddenly you see a very tall shoot. So this is how I compared investment and capital formation in economy. When you keep investing a lot of amount initially, you do not see the results, but the results can be reaped over a long period of time. So these anecdotes, it just makes it more lively, more relatable to the person who is reading it, but you have to collect it over the period of time. So as you were saying, there are aspirants who are in dilemma whether they should prepare for mains or not. This is the time to collect those examples. I think they'll be very interested in reading all of that thing, the websites or whatever YouTube video, they can collect these examples, and it will not be a waste also. So I think this can be done right now.
How did you approach the essay, Mayur?
Sir, just as they have said, essay is about not just a 1 month or 2 month preparation, it's a preparation of the entire journey of life so far. And I used a lot of anecdotes and value additions. I wrote the first essay was a ship is safe at the harbor, but it's not. So my approach was that in any philosophical essay, it can be actually condensed down to 1 or 2 phrases or words, so I condensed it down to courage or risk taking. I started off with the anecdote referring to Rosa Parks, and after that what I did in the structure of essay was that I started in a temporal fashion, went from prehistorical point of view and then historical, ancient, medieval, modern, and when I reached modern I made it thematic, like political. However, all this transition I ensured that it didn't seem jerky, and the flow is to be smooth while writing an essay.
Rahul, how was your
I
approach?
think similar approach. Originality in essay is appreciated and awarded, I guess. And I wrote it in a very non-coaching style, like how I used to write essays in my 10th standard. Very simple. The flow was something which I really focused at. Any reader should be able to catch my ideas easily. And yes, value addition, anecdotes. I even wrote a couplet and shairi in my essay.
You wrote it in Devanagari, or how did you write it? Or English?
English.
In English.
Along with the paraphrase.
So you wrote it in English, Roman letters, not the Devanagari
No.
spread, because that's an important thing, because a lot of people will start doing it, and if they don't hear it clearly,
Yes.
तो हिंदी में शायरी लिखकर बच्चे आएंगे और उसके बाद this video they will trace it too. All right. So any of you, I used to write articles as Neon. Did anyone of you get the opportunity to read any of my articles?
All.
You have read. Coming to note making versus answer writing, इसको कैसे टाइम डिवाइड करें? अभी सारे बच्चे मेंस लिखने वाले हैं, तो एक प्रेशर रहता है कि नोट्स बनाना है या आंसर राइटिंग करनी है, तो आप लोगों ने कैसे डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किया था? So इशिता.
So notes, I tried to keep one page, one word approach in my mains, especially for GS papers, because there's an explanation after every topic. So I tried to cover all those topics, and I tried to summarize it in a small sheet so that even just before the exam, I can quickly go through it. So in that sheet only, I would write probable introductions, probable conclusions, some facts with which I can introduce, some facts with some quotes. I've tried to use quotations in my GS papers also, if they were relevant. So anything relevant around that topic, I would try to fit all of that in 1 or 2 pages so that it is covered very efficiently and quickly before the exam.
But I'm also not a very fan of note making. Whatever compilation or material I used as a base for my mains, that book only I'll take out whatever relevant pages are there, or I'll cut, paste, stick in that, and I'll make that note my notebook. So I did not make notes per se, but only copy, paste and cut. That is what I did.
How about you, Mayur? You had less time, but how did you do it?
Yes, so I did not have such detailed notes. However, I tried to summarize some important topics that I found. However, what I did was that with respect to value addition, in order to memorize all those facts, I came up with very small booklets where I used to write the questions and then I used to write the answers. And whenever I tried to recall, I used to hide the answers and try to actively recall those, so that most of the facts and the data that I was studying, they get ingrained in my brain so that I can recall those as and when required.
I guess note making precedes answer writing, and the more amount of notes you can reproduce in your answers, actually, the more relevant content, and that is what value addition, I think, is.
With respect to the mains guidance program, so all of you have been part of this year's mains guidance as well as maybe earlier years as well. So there are a lot of students who will be joining the mains guidance program. What suggestion would you have for them to extract the maximum benefit out of it?
So I think my approach particularly was to be very professional and disciplined about it. I had a 3-hour pen down rule. So the moment it was 3 hours, even if my paper is left, it would be seen in my answer copies that I've left some questions. So that it impacts me, so that I actually feel that mera paper complete nahi hota. I think giving yourself that 5 minutes extra is not fair. That is one thing. And the other thing is, please try to simulate that 2-day thing once in advance at least, because it requires a certain level of physical stamina. So with my MGP, since there were 8 tests, the last 4 tests I had done continuously on 2 days, and that really helped me on my final day because I did not feel as tired, and even by the time GS4 came, I was it seemed manageable to me.
How about you,
So
Garima?
adding to this, I will just say that don't wait for all the tests to get uploaded. Once I'll finish the entire GS1, I'll take the test. It doesn't happen. I think on the last day also there will be some topic that will be left. Start taking essay tests right away because there's no amount of preparation that you can do. And just start taking tests. Even if there is 3 or 4 topics that are left, just take a test. Maybe don't judge yourself on that 2-3 questions and learn the solutions or revise the solutions. But just start it right away. Don't wait for August that I'll take all the tests. I'll sit down one Sunday and give 4 tests. It doesn't happen.
So you mean to say that you should not try to become a collector by collecting the tests?
Exactly. Just keep taking tests. Even if you get 60-70 marks, it's between you and the examiner. Just let it be and don't
So
hesitate.
Mayur did not have those challenges because it was his very first attempt with very less. So I'll skip Mayur, I'll go to Rahul. Rahul, how did you deal with the tests or how did you extract maximum benefits?
One aspect is answer writing practice in a time bound manner. 3 घंटे में आंसर करना is a challenge. And second is feedback. थोड़ा सा, I mean, not judging the feedback. There will be times when feedback given will feel that it's not appropriate to you. So you should take it with a pinch of salt and incorporate it in your next level answers. Although मेरे तो MGP में कभी 90-95 से ज़्यादा नहीं आए, तो मैं बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं बोल सकता.
इशिता, आपके आए थे 90-95 से ज़्यादा?
हाँ सर, आई थिंक आए थे उतना. आई डिड नॉट टेक द मार्क्स वेरी सीरियसली. मैं फीडबैक पढ़ लेती थी क्योंकि कभी 80 आते थे पर मुझे लगता था, एक बार मेरे 80 आए थे पॉलिटी में एंड मुझे लगा था कि नहीं मेरा पेपर अच्छा गया है GS2 का ज़्यादा. सो आई कम टू यू लेटर ऑन ऑल्सो एंड देन यू सेड दैट यस आई थिंक ज़्यादा हो सकते हैं मार्क्स. तो तब मुझे रियलाइज़ हुआ था कि मार्क्स को बहुत ज़्यादा सीरियसली मत लें. अगर कुछ फीडबैक है जो जेन्युइन लग रहा है, जो आप कर सकते हैं, तो प्लीज़ उसको ऐड ऑन कर लें.
हाँ, मुझे याद है आप मेरे पास आई थी और मुझे लगा था कि 80 मार्क्स आए हैं. मुझे लगा था कि 90-95 तो डेफिनेटली इस टेस्ट पेपर में
So you had given 105 after that. So 25 मार्क्स ऐसे ही बढ़ गए थे, तो इट्स ओके. कभी कभी हो जाता है. डोंट टेक इट टू योर हार्ट.
गरिमा, आपको नंबर आए थे कभी MGP में?
हाँ सर, मुझे ज़्यादा नंबर आने लगे थे. सो माई फ्रेंड्स एंड सीनियर्स वर लाइक नहीं MGP तो चेकिंग इज बिकम वेरी इजी. Don't get all ballooned up. You have to stay grounded. You will not get. I used to get 120 in essays, 130 in one essay. So I stopped writing essays anymore.
नहीं, तो आपकी कॉपीज़ भी अच्छी कॉपीज़ में मेरे पास आई थी. उसका रीज़न ये है कि थोड़ी सी स्ट्रिक्ट मार्किंग ही रहती है MGP. मतलब आप 80-90 में ही ठीक ठाक हो. 95 के बाद वी स्टार्ट नोटिसिंग यू. 95-100 के बाद वी स्टार्ट नोटिसिंग यू. आपको मैंने अगर 105 बोला तो इट वाज अ विनर. मतलब मेरे लिए बेस्ट ही कैंडिडेट हो गया. 105 नहीं देते हैं हम लोग. 100 हम चाहते 105 का मतलब वहाँ 125 है हमारे लिए. 20 नंबर बिल्कुल आप बढ़ाकर ऐड कर सकते हो. मयूर, आपको नंबर आए थे कभी 2-3 जो भी पेपर दिए थे?
मेरा MGP का जो था ऑनलाइन था, तो फर्स्ट पेपर जो मैंने लिखा था, मतलब आज अगर मैं वो पेपर देखूंगा तो मतलब खुद ही के ऊपर मतलब मैं हंस दूंगा, इतना ख़राब लिखा था. बट आई हैड दिस ग्राफ दैट सेकेंड जब दिया काफ़ी अच्छा हुआ. एंड थर्ड तक जब मैं दिया तो वो उस समय में उस ऑनलाइन का मेरा टॉप 2 में आ गया था वो. तो आई हैड ए वेरी स्टीप ग्राफ ऑफ इम्प्रूवमेंट. सो मेरे को लगा कि इवेल्युएशन वाज गुड. फर्स्ट में मैं सीख गया कि हाउ टू आंसर टू द पॉइंट. सेकंड में मेरे को वैल्यू एडिशन का आइडिया हो गया था. तो लकीली आई वाज लाइक हाउ कैन आई से लाइक आई कुड गेट द आइडिया ऑफ व्हाट आई शुड ऐड और नॉट. तो हाँ, थर्ड वाले में अच्छा था, तो टॉप 2 में था. तो
अच्छा, कमिंग टू द इंटरव्यू फेज. इंटरव्यू में कौन सा बोर्ड मिला, क्या तैयारी की और सबसे डिफ़िकल्ट क्वेश्चन क्या था?
सर, बोर्ड्स के बारे में बहुत रूमर्स होते हैं एंड आई गॉट 24 सर्स बोर्ड एंड सो बट ठीक है. आई थिंक contrary to what I was told, my interview did have questions about the DAF and they did ask me about my sports background, about my visit to China. जो चीज़ें मैंने लिखी थी तो वो डिस्कस हुई थी. So I think through this video I hope I can help in busting some of those myths कि ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता है. Don't fall for these things. When I went there, DAF वाला myth भी break हो गया and marks वाला myth भी break हो गया. तो फॉर मी दैट वाज माय जर्नी.
नहीं, फोरम पे तो हम लोग थोड़ा सा डैफ पर फोकस रखते हैं क्योंकि दैट इज़ द प्रेडिक्टेबल पार्ट. आप कहोगे कि करंट से क्वेश्चन क्यों नहीं पूछा, आजकल वैसे पूछ रहे हैं, लेकिन हमें पता है कि प्रेडिक्टेबल पार्ट जो है उसको तैयार करके जाएंगे तो बाकी
अनप्रेडिक्टेबल. के बारे में बहुत रूमर्स होते हैं तो आई डोंट थिंक वो बिलीव करना चाहिए बिकॉज वी हैव टू आल्सो ट्रस्ट द प्रोसेस.
मुझे लगता है इस बार सर काफ़ी बैठे हैं मतलब रोज ही ट्रांसक्रिप्ट्स में आता रहता था कि आज
तो वो
ऐसा
एक
हुआ।
fear
हाँ।
psychosis create हो जाती है, and that dims the confidence of the candidates that are coming later. I was in a much later phase, 18th of April. So ठीक है, we should avoid all those rumors, I think.
गरिमा आपका कैसा? गरिमा आपसे तो मेरी मुझे लगता है कि कुछ महीने भर पहले ही हमारा आई थिंक दिस मंथ और मे बी अर्लियर लेटर लास्ट मंथ ही हम लोग का मॉक हो रहा था।
I think 17th of March. So I came just 3 days before my interview. I had a one-on-one with you. Preeti ma'am's board I got, and so even if you're sitting outside the interview room, there are a lot of people who will speculate. अच्छा तुम्हारा तो ये board है, तुम्हारा तो ये board है. So what happened with me? Everyone told me you have Satyavati's ma'am's board, and I did not know until I went inside. So I went inside and it was Preeti ma'am. So I was in a state of shock for 2 minutes because you mentally prepare yourself for some board and it is something else. So I just forgot to wish good evening, and then it was a light moment because everybody started laughing and they realized that I forgot to wish. But it is a very fair board, I think. Every board is. I think it was the marks I got reflects how I performed. So it's nice.
Mayur,
So my board was of Honorable Smita Nagaraj ma'am, and like before the results, in the groups, the students have actually analyzed the marks given by various boards, and it was almost in consensus कि उससे तो उम्मीद मतलब उस board से उम्मीद तो मत ही रखियो। तो luckily मतलब I managed to score 193. So my interview was very cordial, and since I had IFS as my first preference, most of my interview revolved around international relations, and especially with respect to chairwoman, the entire 10 minutes was around international relation, and बाकी तो ठीक ही था।
सबसे कठिन क्वेश्चन क्या पूछा गया आप लोगों से? Any question that any of you were not able to answer?
So it was very cordial and conversational and things that we are seeing around us. So ऐसा कुछ out of the world नहीं था. It was.
You got any tricky question that?
So I remember there was one question he was asking me about the status of right to property in other countries as well. For example, in Singapore, South Korea. So simply said that I do not have the knowledge at present, but I would really like to read up on that. I think that was one question I said no.
Rahul, how about you?
मेरे से तो एक फ़नी चीज़ हुई थी। वन चेयरपर्सन ऑनरेबल चौबे सर का बोर्ड था, उन्होंने पूछा कि व्हाट इज़ फाइनेंस कमीशन। तो अब जीएस का पढ़ते पढ़ते दिमाग में हो गया था कि कमीशन के नाम इंसानों पे होते हैं, मल्होत्रा कमीशन, ये मतलब फाइनेंस किस आदमी का नाम है, मुझे याद ही नहीं आ रहा। तो आई वॉज ऑलमोस्ट अबाउट टू से सॉरी, बट इट मतलब याद आ गया, फिर बता दिया।
So asking all of you this question, what was the one low point of your preparation phase? See, we all go through, and for some of us, this journey is a little longer than we had expected. Most people, when they come for civil services, almost everyone thinks that I'll just come and I'll see and I'll conquer. Julius Caesar probably gave us this idea, vidi vidi vici, unhi ke lines hai. And so, but then what happens is when we write the civil services exam, sometimes we may be academically brilliant, and then what happens is the unstoppable meets the immovable, and then we realize कि पहली बार sometimes some of us face the first failure of our life in civil services. Thankfully, Mayur did not have to face at all any of it, but apart from us, I think all of us have seen some. So what was the lowest phase of your preparation phase, and how did you get out of that, or what thinking pulled you out of it? Ishita?
So I think low phases are when we don't see the results of our efforts, and there are definitely setbacks for me. Both not clearing both my first 2 prelims were the low points in this preparation journey, and especially when we're studying the entire year and at the end of it we feel that we could not make it. But I think, sir, I was very clear that this is what I want to do. I asked myself, one, if I have the stamina for one more attempt. The answer was yes. And 2, do I really want to still do this with the same passion with which I started? The answer was also yes. So when the answer was yes, there was no reason to stop. I started on the next day of the result itself, and fortunately that helped me with my mains later on.
So you're one of the few candidates who was a part of the MGP that year, did not clear prelims and finished all the tests. That's what you said, huh?
I gave the MGP simulator at home, even though I was not writing mains.
All right. So you were able to derive maximum benefit. Wonderful. Garima, what was the lowest phase and how did you get out of it?
Sir, in 2021 prelims, I failed, and it was the first failure of my life. Like I had never failed before, and nobody expected this. But then in introspection, I know that I had not put a lot of effort. Even if if I would have went up till the main stage, I would have failed miserably. But it was a savior back then. I did not realize it, but I realize it today that whatever happens, happens for a reason. And I think that was a very low phase for me, and it had a huge opportunity cost. I was not pursuing my CA finals. Everybody else just gave their finals, and all my batchmates, and I was not pursuing that. So I was also lagging behind in that. So what if I don't get through this, and what if I don't even become a chartered accountant? All of that thing was going in my head constantly.
So Mayur, you did not face any failures as such, but still you can have first world problems.
Yes, sir. Definitely there were lots of, I have been telling this that I was having lots of mini mental breakdowns like every 1 week or 10 days. But I would say that probably I remember this particular day that I was, since it was, by the time there was the second wave of COVID and I was posted in a hospital in a rural area. So it was very hot. It was June or July. I was wearing PPE. I ended my shift, and when I came back, I opened my tape and the water was all brown, and I was like, अब क्या ही करना है, मतलब और पूरा पसीना हो गया था. फिर भी like that was at some point, I think those were some challenges, but I think at the end of the day it's about remembering what motivated us for the first time to go into this journey or to embark this journey. So you have that mental resilience that no matter how many times you fall, you pick up yourself up and then move ahead.
Rahul, you've seen quite some bit of failure. What was your lowest phase and how did you deal with it?
Sir, lowest phase was failing prelims in 2019. That was my third prelims, and I had worked really hard for it. And that failure hit me so hard that I gave up preparation. For 2 years, I did not attempt this exam, 2020 and 21.
So what were you doing that time? Did you join somewhere?
I went into this engineering services. I even qualified with rank 33 there. But then somewhere I knew that I could do it. And it was only that I realized that I did not give it all I had. There was still something left which I can do better, and that was what pulled me back in this exam for this cycle.
So these days there's also a very big question that is going on, is that should one have plan B for civil services? So while civil services, given the nature of the unpredictable exam, so should we have plan B? What is your opinion? Let's start from Rahul. Do you think we should have, so you were kind of secure, you had a technical degree, you had cleared engineering services, right? But still, do you think there is a need for a strong plan B when you decide to write the civils exam?
I think yes, we should have a fallback option.
Mayur, you already are a doctor, so you do have a fallback option. But let's ask Ishita, and did you have a plan B?
So I think it's very important because it keeps us calm when we are not getting results. So we are not all over the place ki now I have nothing left in my life and nothing to fall back on. So my journey in the corporate sector, I had 2 years of work experience, and I thought that is something that I can build on. And I think that's what kept me calm till my third attempt.
How about you?
Yes, sir, I definitely think it's very important given the nature of the uncertainty of this exam, and it's only this will give you the strength to come back stronger in one more attempt, because you know that you have something that you can go back to whenever you want, so you can go full throttle in this preparation.
So in the past, just in the span of 10 days that have gone by, we'll have two kinds of students who are not in the happiest frame of mind. One is those who have not been able to make it to the final list, and the others who have just written the prelims examination and are on the edge of a breakdown where they are not sure whether they are going to make it or not. And some students will make, some students will not. So in the past 10 days, there will be a lot of friends of ours, हमारे कई सारे friends होंगे, who will be feeling that they have not been able to achieve things, who have not made it, who will have a sense of failure, whether it is the final list cut, whether it is the prelims examination. So some of you have been in that phase at some point of time. So what message would you want to give to them? Let us start with Rahul.
I think persistence is the only way out. There is nothing else, and just trust your hard work and trust the process. That way it gets simplified.
Mayur?
Sir, I would say that just as you said that in this journey, when anybody embarks on this journey, he needs to have that mental resilience. He needs to develop and know that the journey is not going to be easy. No matter how many times one falls off, one should have that kind of mentality that I'll pick myself up and keep on going forward.
Ishita?
Yes, sir. Very similar. That this is a long journey, and sometimes it gets longer than what we anticipate. So stick to the game. Put your best fight. There are no shortcuts to success. So take the longer route. Be genuine and truthful about it. Don't lie to yourself. Be very truthful that whether you have done something and in how much detail and how many hours. So if you are truthful, the game will be true to you.
Garima?
So I think all of this is easier said. Having failed, if anyone in hindsight would have told me just do your work, but it feels like a wasted effort. But I just only want to tell to everyone who just missed it by some marks that whatever effort you did in this attempt will reflect in your next attempt. Your knowledge will not get wasted. You'll use it in some or the other answer. So it's just like preparing again, but you have a lot of repository of information that you will be able to use. So instead of feeling that grief that you have wasted an entire year, it's not a total waste. That is something I would say.
Chalo, wonderful. So it was great interacting with you, and I wish you the best, and I hope you shine. Just like you've shown, you have your shining all throughout your career, and have a good one. Thank you. All right, my best wishes.